Oh, here
Did
it
you
is.
hit go live?
Yes,
you
we're
did.
live.
Oh my God.
I forgot to tell you.
Yeah.
Why
I was
am
just
I
saying,
blurry? What's
what
going on with my camera?
I don't know.
Hold on.
I was just saying, I feel like I should have
We weren't
made
ready
tea.
for today.
I should have made a cup of tea for today. No? Now you're muted and
I'm
muted and blurry.
How am I muted and blurry? Hold on.
I don't know. Oh, you're back. You're back.
I'm back. Okay, good. Am I normal? Okay, good. I'm normal.
I
That was
wouldn't
weird.
Say that. Wouldn't say that.
Wouldn't say that. Okay. GM Adrian.
GM engagement.
GM Art Lou, you ain't wrong. Okay. We were not scheduled to be on here today. But we are. So let's actually start the show for real. And please retweet, recast, and let people know we're alive. And we will be back in just 45 seconds, 40 seconds. Welcome to GM Farcaster, bringing you everything from breaking news to spicy memes to the deep lore shaping this vibrant digital community. More than just a show, GM Farcaster is your digital third space where the community connects, the stories unfold, and the culture thrives. Whether you're a daily caster or just dropping by, we've got the latest buzz to keep you plugged in. So grab your coffee and let's dive in with your hosts, Nanish Prof and Adrian, for another episode of GM Farcaster. GM Farcaster. It is Monday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, and you are here with Nanish Prof and Adrian for 29 minutes-ish of Farcaster News to start your day. I have no idea how long this is going to go. I'm going to be honest with you. We were not planning to be live and decided to jump on, and I'm celebrating Cinco de Mayo with a pastel ribbon. Not really, just kidding.
Where's your margarita?
No margarita. I don't drink, which is I think I had to say that 700 times over the past few days. But I did enjoy seeing the past blue ribbon come out for the beer pong. So we've been at FarCon since last Wednesday. We had a show on Monday and Tuesday, and then went off to FarCon for a few days. And I think that Zinger summed this up perfectly. Voice gone, throat hurts, legs shot, brain fried, heart full. Thanks for the memes. I think that's the most accurate way I can sum up how I'm feeling right now. You can hear my voice is just dead. Dead, which is why I wanted to.
So you flew home yesterday because you FarConned through Sunday.
I did. I FarConned away. Yes.
I expired Saturday evening after Alexander, after the Forever Library.
I was like, I got home last night at 12. I have been home for 12 hours as of right now.
I slept in my own bed Saturday night, and I literally was a vegetable yesterday. I was so tired. So I feel for you. I'm sorry that.
I know. And I also I'm back to the land of no stairs. So thank God. Mm-hmm. You guys don't understand what that was like. That was insane. Because I climbed no stairs. I literally climbed more stairs in 4 days than I did in the past, probably 4 years. Okay, so we've got a lot to talk about. This isn't our official FarCon recap show. We're gonna do go through it all. We're gonna chat with some of the FarCon team, with Dylan and Emma. We're gonna do a whole thing. We also have all the content, and it's amazing. It's the Fred Wilson talk is, for any founders, incredible. You'll get so much from it. So that will be coming shortly. I hope ASAP, but we're just waiting on the professional audio visual folks to send over the content, and then we'll start chopping it up and putting it out. So we'll give you all content this week is going to be lit. Yeah, Dylan. We need to, and we definitely want to get you and Emma on to do a formal GM and the PM kind of recap. So we'll get that all done. So that'll be coming to you hopefully sometime this week. I picked up this fantastic merch at the beer pong tournament. That was a last minute side event. And I have to tell you, And I don't mean to make you feel bad.
It was
but
the
you should
best
have
event.
stayed. It was pretty epic. It was just pure fun, pure joy, just really fun. Everyone just had a blast. It was just, I think it was kind of like, I don't even know what, like, it just was really, really fun. And just enjoyed myself. I had a blast. I cut out a little early, so I didn't see to the very end, but it was super fun. By the way, I had Tayab and Garrett from the get. I knew it. Always bet on the cast out winners.
So
there you go.
okay, so it
That's
seemed
how
like
I picked.
yeah.
Say again?
Well, it seemed like FarCon Venice, like the pickleball tournament, was like
Yes,
the hot
that's what I
event.
was thinking
So then
about.
we did Padel this year, by the way, which was also an excellent event.
Amazing.
But it seems like the beer pong was the event. So next year, someone's probably going to do beer pong, and it won't be as good. But then Bracky's going to find a tournament for something else. So I think the alpha here is follow Bracky.
Follow Bracky. I think that is the alpha. That's some good alpha. Yeah, it was just really, really fun. So that's what is in my background. You can see Tim in my background there, managing the whole thing. And it was just really, really fun. Okay, so we're going to start with a little bit of FarCon news, and then we're going to shift gears to why we're actually here on live and talk about Clanker. But just a few things. I thought this was hilarious, Pugson. So funny. Okay, FarCon is done. Time to put him back in the box with Dan in the box. So Dan's back in the box now. This from Brad Q, 29 seconds of Farcaster. By the way, so excited to finally meet Brad Q in person. Like, we owned a noun for like a year and never had met in person. So it's like funny that we owned actual assets together and had never met the human. So that was amazing. So 29 seconds of Farcaster. What did you miss this weekend? No GM Farcaster day. Psych.
Things change fast. Things change very fast.
Man. We didn't tell Brad before he put this out there. I don't think we decided till after.
No, it was literally as he was doing this, I was texting you like, hey, maybe we should go on today. And
oh, so funny. FarCon wasn't the only thing happening. By the way, follow Brad Q, follow 29 seconds of Farcaster. We do have like a paragraph that comes out as well. You can get this alert sent right to you. Okay, so FarCon wasn't the only thing happening. Eric Nelson dropped mini app pay-per-view, hidden premium content that anyone can pay to unlock. This is also related to Pods, I believe. This is the Pods team who dropped this. I think, isn't it? I believe. I got to double check that. Maybe I'm wrong. Kaufman pointed out a milestone on FC that he learned the Iberian blackout here, a notable first for breaking news. Jeff Goldberg did some killer data work on FC influence, including influential accounts under 5K and 1K followers. Check his feed. News all over the timeline that Proxy Studio Alex has resigned from Clanker team after revelations of major financial indiscretions in previous employment. We'll get to that. One thoughtful take I saw was from Toady Hawk, and we will get to that as well. Burt Wurst reminded us of the power of FC with 3 successful crowd funds for dogs in need. Calucia, Animal, and Cronella. And now Nashroff and Adria will be back. We'll also be back on Wednesday, but we're here today. Okay, this was so funny from Afrochicks, from Naomi. X, FarCon is Brooklyn elitist and not Manhattan Solana, not Farcaster. Clanker, Proxy, oh my God, me, egg. It's like a weird little egg thing that she bought that she keeps sharing. I think it's an egg with a hat, so I just think she was very influenced by meeting Borodutch.
Got it.
That's what happened. It's the only thing I can understand.
Was Borodutch at FarCon? I didn't meet him.
Yes, you did. But maybe you all might know him by another name, Brian and Unlonely.
Brian from Unlonely.
Brian Unlonely.
Brian from Unlonely, I saw all over the place. Borodutch,
the funniest thing ever. He got up to ask a question and he said Brian from Unlonely, and the whole entire place just erupted. And then he kept introducing himself as that, and people who didn't know him and didn't know Brian thought he was serious. So there was a couple times where I was standing there and I go, no, he's kidding. That's not Brian. So anyway, that was amusing. This from TLDR, that's the pick. That's my background right now. The beer pong tournament was epic. There were the final winners, Garrett and Tab. I sold like right before the end because it got up to like 921, and I'm like, you know what? It's a good time to sell because the most I can get is 1,000. This way, I'm covered either way. I think I made the right move. NFA, DYOR. Don't gamble more than you have, more bracky than you have to lose. This from Emma, highlights of the weekend, ? Channel now open. So go check this out, but also add your own because we'll revisit this again when we chat with Emma and Dylan at some point. But this also is a great thread of fun things that you may have missed or maybe you want to chime in. So very cool. Also loved this little recap from Naomi. She is so good. Just capturing up there was the moment where he said, "Hi, Brian from Unlonely." It's actually captured in this video, which is funny. So really excited. We'll be bringing all this content to you. So if you weren't able to be there, you'll catch it all. We've got it, and we're going to be sharing all of it with you. All right. So we get back from FarCon, and I see Johnny Max, his post, his cast first, and then I dig in and figure out what the heck's going on. So there was a tweet that was about FarCon, and I read it, and I seriously wrote 3 different replies. One is still in my draft folder, and I didn't type them because I was like, I am not taking this rage bait. I'm just not going to do it because it read so much like I'm engagement farming. Here I go. And then they ended up actually deleting it. So, which was pretty funny. But if you want to read it, you can read it right here. Because I did actually grab the screenshot of it. And the first thing, I don't know if you caught that, but the first thing they say is, I wasn't at FarCon, which I just think is really funny. I couldn't attend. And then they went on from there. So, and it just had all these different feedback, not even feedback, criticism of FarCon and Farcaster and all this. Now, there might be some valid points in there, but you lost me right at 1. Yeah, I was done. And they're like, well, I wanted to go in March and it was already sold out. Like, yeah, it was. They had a capacity limit and there was more people than you. And also, you never cast on Farcaster. Like, I went to the person's account and I was like, who are they? Let me see. Like, no.
But I think this is something we've talked about, right? Which is just a misconception outside, if you're not kind of super active on Farcaster, of what FarCon is.
Yeah.
So FarCon is a it's a volunteer community organized event, completely permissionlessly. Like, it kind of started as a meetup. Last year got so much bigger. Obviously, it's so much bigger. We've talked kind of about the future of FarCon, because at some point people expect it to be like, Farcaster is a massive ecosystem. It should be open to everyone. There shouldn't be limits. There shouldn't be constraints. If people want to go, should it be also, is it a meetup for kind of power users that are there all the time building, or is it a way to meet new people? Is it a growth conference? How do you bring people on? Should it be both? So I think you're kind of, that's what people expect. If you're like, oh, FarCon, Farcaster's huge. I see Farcaster all over, oh, guess what? Farcaster raised $150 million. And what do you mean I can't get it? Like, why are you not letting people buy a ticket last minute? There was a lot
of that too. I had a lot of people in my DMs. I'm like, look, I am not on the, first of all, even if I could get you in, I can't. Like, it's totally sold out. There's a wait list of people who want to go. And second of all, it's not my call. Like, all I can do, there's nothing. And at this point, there's 0 I can do. So there was, and I think there'll be a shift. I think there's appreciation of trying to accommodate more people so they can come and experience and all those things. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of discussions about this, because I know there's going to be some OGs, might be included, that want to keep it smaller because there's something special about that. But I think it's just going to have to be bigger, because there are a lot of people that I wish could have been there.
It has to
that
be.
just
But the
yeah,
organizers, like when we're like, remember, it was like, who's going to run the next FarCon?
yeah,
Organizers, volunteers pop up.
yeah.
You don't know how many people are going to buy tickets. You don't know who your sponsors are. You don't necessarily like it
A
costs a lot of
ton of
money to
work,
book events.
ton of work.
Um, it's I understand kind of why decisions are made a certain way. I also understand how the perception is like,
Yeah.
WTF Farcaster, why are you not
Yeah,
letting,
why are you
are
not
you doing?
letting
Yeah.
everybody in? Yeah, why are you being elitist? Like, that part I was like, "Come on." When GM Far do you realize that after FarCon 1, it was, said to me multiple times, "Why don't you do the next one?" And I was like, "I don't think so." And also I was working, full-time teaching position at that point. So no, I don't want to do it because I also know how much work it takes. It's basically like a full-time job. And I remember Jack even being in that gallery that was on the second floor in Venice and saying at that point, I think we want to do it in New York. What do you think? Da, da, da. And having that conversation with Jack from Icebreaker. But it's a ton of work. It's a ton of effort. And I wish more people, I hope people saw the pictures I was posting of the space as it was being set up. It was massive. There was a huge crew there doing all this stuff and putting up lights and setting everything up and staging and screens and AV. And the AV took forever to get set up and all this stuff. So to make this all happen. And then there was like a woodworking shop going on and for the base loft area. Like it was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. I know you didn't catch any of that, Adrian, because you were just busy
Oh
hacking.
my God, sorry.
Well, I was dragging like multiple suitcases multiple times over there. No, I'm glad you did because you had a blast. So there's, it's anyway. We'll see what happens next year. I think it'll be bigger, but I think you'll also have, and I think this will be hopefully what can keep it special, is these smaller events on the side. I heard poker looked great last night, and Jeff, I know you were there. I heard you were there, so I hope you had fun. That looked like a great event. The beer pong thing was just freaking funny. It was so last minute. It was literally in this like industrial building in Bushwick and like climbed up like, I don't know, 1,700 stairs to get in there. And it was just this
Was it
white box room with like lights that were plugged in. Like
okay? This
literally
might be a
just
stupid question.
it
I'm going to
was
embarrass
crazy.
myself, but
Yeah.
everyone who played, were they actually drinking beer, and
Yes.
how much was in each cup?
There
And did you
was
have the
like
option to
one
play with water, or was it a
no, it
strictly
was
beer
beer.
pong tournament?
It was beer. And they were
Okay.
pouring like basically, I think 1 can per 6 cups or something and splitting it among 6
Okay.
cups. So it wasn't like a ton. No one was getting completely trashed, but
2 beers
they
per
were drinking.
side per game. So
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dylan. That was he
okay.
played. He actually played.
This sounds like a young
So,
person's game.
oh, 100% was a young person's
I
game. I don't think I
um
saw anyone over the age of 30 play or maybe 32 on
I
the
went
high
to a
end.
Big Ten party school, so younger Adrian would have been competing, but present day
So,
Adrian could not.
I was
I
like, they're
would
like, "Did you
die.
play this in college?" I'm like, "No, we didn't play beer pong in college." Like it wasn't a thing yet. We played quarters. Actually, we played quadas to be specific.
Oh,
Because I was from Massachusetts, so we play quadas. So if you want to play quadas, I got you. Um, no, Barlou said, Christina, there was no sofa down. Sorry, sadly, there was like barely any seating, and it was really hot. It was just this, like, it was just funny. Honestly, it was so funny. Flip cup, yes, flip cup. There we go. Flip cup next year. Yeah, Adrian was hacking away and having a blast doing it.
okay.
So you had yeah. So the Thursday, and again, we're not doing a full recap, but just really quick, like the Thursday,
It's
I
hard
was
not
doing
to.
setup. I know. I was doing like I did 5 events, and then I was helping with setup, and Adrian was like at Builders Day, and then just
I had a
working on a
very,
project.
very different day from you. I went to one thing and didn't leave that one thing and didn't talk to anyone except my 2 hackathon teammates and my computer screen, like for 12
Yeah,
and a half hours. So
and
if
I was
you thought,
all over
yeah,
Brooklyn.
yeah.
I was like all over the place. And we'll get into all of that stuff, like I said. Team quarters, nice. I did that as well. All right. So by the way, this is going way back. We had a sorority bar Olympics when I was in college. And yes, I did help my team win.
Does anyone remember
So
Chandelier? Does anyone remember the game Chandelier?
yeah, vaguely. That was like multiple quarters, right?
I think it was like, yeah, you'd stack up the
Yes.
like shot glasses. So then it was like,
Yeah.
it was layers, levels of quarters. I vaguely remember.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. Or like,
How
or there
disgusting
was
you'd put
there was also speed quarters where you were like, it
Oh,
was going, and then if it came to you, you had to drink. Like
I
if
don't know.
you know, it kept like going around the circle. I don't know. You started at two ends. Anyway, okay. We've gotten way off
What
track.
what are we talking about?
What are we even talking about? We got way off track. All right. So there was that drama. And if you want to take a look, you can go check that out. But I think that what I really appreciated was, oh, I don't have it. I was looking for it, but I don't think I have it. I really appreciated Johnny's take on this because I feel like he had a really good take on the sort of criticism that was coming from Twitter on this. And I just don't think I have it handy. Hold on one second. Where it really came down to some, first of all, misunderstandings. And then second of all, just like if you weren't there, like maybe pause for a second before commenting on an event you weren't at. That's is all I could say. And I loved this from Dan. Here are my thoughts on an event. I didn't actually attend the event. Second, like, yeah, like maybe not. But also, you know, there might be some, oh, here it is. One, I actually attended it. So you can go take a look at this. We'll include this in the show notes. Johnny's is still there. The one that he was commenting on from Glen on Chain is not. It's not been deleted because I think he got a lot of good feedback that you know, maybe he misunderstood a few things. So he did take that down. One of the things he kept saying that was kind of I was getting frustrated with, he kept saying, "Well, I don't mean to say anything about the volunteers," but literally one of the comments in the replies he said was, "They need new volunteers next year then." I was like, "Okay, make up your mind. Either you're not treading on the volunteers or you are." So anyway, I got a little annoyed. It's so coming from that, there were a few comments from Dan and Varun that I think are relevant and helpful. In the past 4.5 years of working on Farcaster, the dumbest niche meme has been, you can't speak the truth on Farcaster without fear of retribution. Just because you say something and then someone disagrees with you or ignores you, that's not retribution. So I would say that we have multiple people who are, some of them who are in our chat right now, who are very strong critics of Farcaster on a lot of different fronts. And guess what? They're not banned on Farcaster. They're not banned on Warpcast. They're not banned on the protocol. If for some reason they got banned on Warpcast, by the way, they would still be on the protocol. So,
That's right.
You know, either way, but they're not. So that like criticism was not accurate there. And then the other thing that we've had a lot of conversations about is shadow banning. And this is from V. There's no shadow banning on Warpcast. If you make a top level cast, it will show up in the feeds of everyone who follows you. You don't have to take my word for it. Cast something, take a friend's phone, scroll to the bottom of their feed. Your cast will show up at some point. It will be higher up if they interact with you a lot and lower down if they don't. So some of this is things like spam labels, which if you think you're being labeled incorrectly as spam, say something. Like, see if we can, you know, shout it out and see if you can get that attended to because it might be incorrect. Peachy has done a lot of work around this, especially for non-English speaking communities, because that's been an area that she's been really concerned about. So take a look at Peachy's account. And I think that is super helpful and it may help you to understand like what's going on there. So it can be that. It also can just be you are just not showing up in the feed. And I've had this happen so many times because I follow quite a few people, like, I don't know, 3,000 or something. I have to go look. And sometimes I just don't see people, and it's people who I'm like very friendly with. And I'll just think, oh, I haven't seen that person come up on my feed every once in a while. I have to go interact with it. And it starts to show up again. And that's just an algo problem. And it needs tweaking. You know what I mean? So it's going to keep getting better. And so it could be just that. All right. Thoughts?
I think you captured it very well. I think it's also like what define retribution. I
Yeah.
do think there's like natural social interaction. Like if you're going to say something, like there's like wisdom of the crowd. Maybe there's like tends to be people who share certain point of views. If you're going to say something that goes against it, I don't think I don't think you get retribution for saying something contrary.
Yeah.
The way how it's but and that's not unique to Farcaster.
No.
And
But I also think like you're going to have people who just don't like you, don't like your content. Like, no, I'm not speaking to anyone in particular, but I know there's people who don't like me in particular or whatever, and that's perfectly fine. Like, that doesn't mean it's retribution from the protocol, because you know what I mean? It's just like,
yeah,
okay,
I think people
if
get
people don't
upset, right? It's like if
yeah,
I'm going to say something contrary to what I think the group thinks,
sure.
and if I don't feel like I get like it's like the expectation is that everyone's going to thank you for that and celebrate you for having a different point of view. That's just like social dynamics. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're not allowed to say it. It doesn't mean some people don't like people do like there are people who appreciate. I really appreciate different point of views. I don't block anyone. I don't mute any
Yeah.
words. Like I purposely like
I've
seek
blocked
out
one person besides outright spammers, and that's it.
I want to see. Yeah, I actually had a funny story
Yeah.
about someone blocking someone this past week, but maybe I'll save it for the recap. But I but not everyone does. I don't know. So I don't think there's retribution.
No.
This is just
Not
like
at the protocol
social
level. You might
skills.
have certain people who, just they're not gonna interact with you. I'm
Not
not gonna
even well,
interact.
hold on. Not at the Warpcast, like not at the
No,
client level. There's no
no,
retribution.
no. I'm gonna have people that I don't interact with as much. I'm gonna have people that I'm not going to go through the emotional labor of dealing with, because there have been many times when I've had conversations in private in DCs, and that's where I'll leave them be, because there's no need to amplify them. It's not because I want to not say something publicly, but it's like, I'm not going to amplify this. It's not worth the emotional labor. And I don't want to FUD somebody. Like, I've had certain projects that maybe I've, pivoted off from, or didn't want to no longer amplify for one reason or another. And I just choose to not make it more difficult for them or anything like that. It's just that I'm not vibing with that or whatever it is. So lots of different ways to look at it. That's another one. Yes, I've done that as well. And I use mute way more. I seriously have only banned one person. I've used mute quite a bit when I've had some issues like that, and it's usually been around that kind of thing. If you ask me for a tip, there's chances are you're not getting one. All right, so let's move on to the big news here. Of We've got a lot of other things to talk about, but we'll get back to FarCon later on. Oh, I did want to mention one thing from V here, because this might be helpful. I spent a little time with casters at FC who complained about not getting enough distribution. This is related to what we were just talking about. I found 3 problems that affected most casters. If you want to increase your distribution, try fixing these first. Not enough followers. Obviously, that's a little trickier to fix, but hopefully, if you can amplify, or if you see somebody who doesn't have a lot of followers, and you're like, this person's really cool, they really should, more people should be following them. I did that with with JRS during the March Madness. Who is is one of the assistant coaches at Florida. It's like, this person's like, this is some cool stuff. You guys should really see this. So shout them out, do a follow Friday, something like that. Cast interesting things, cast often. So, and I would say cast often is probably your best takeaway. I'd actually put that as 1, but also casting interesting things. If you're just casting the same thing over and over and over again, yeah, it may not increase your distribution much. But I would say casting often is going to let you see where you get more interaction, and that might help you as well. But also just cast things that you're interested in, and other people who are interested in the same thing will find you.
Yeah.
Like,
Also be interesting.
just be interesting, people. What's wrong with you? Just be interesting.
Just be more interesting.
Just be more interesting. It's really a you problem. Is what we're trying to say. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. V had also said he would review 10 profiles. I'm going to guess he already got his 10, but yeah. So there you go. There was an opportunity there if you grabbed it. Garrett, you do not qualify for that. Sorry. Okay, moving on to our last big topic of the day. This from Moon Pappy. FarCon 2025 was 8 years ago.
Imagine waking up. There were people who woke up this morning and opened Farcaster.
I know.
And they don't know what Moon Poppy's talking about.
I know. So we're going to tell them. Okay, so this came out from Dish yesterday, and somebody in the chat said this, and I'm sorry, I have to go check. I have to go grab it because it was exactly what I was thinking.
I'll get it for you.
Let me see if I can find it. The one about I thought it was a joke, and I can't remember who
I'll
said
find
it.
it.
Okay, thank you. Because I thought the same exact thing. I really thought this was a joke. I thought they were kidding. So this is from Dish, who's one of the co-founders of Clanker. Clanker has recently become aware of information concerning, Artlu, of information concerning Proxy Studios.eth's conduct during his previous employment. Following these revelations, Proxy Studio.eth has decided to part ways with Clanker effective immediately. We want to assure our community, partners, and stakeholders that Clanker's operations and assets remain unaffected by this situation. That's really important. This matter relates solely to activities that occur prior to his involvement with our organization. Our team is implementing an immediate transition plan to ensure continuity of all operations. We remain fully committed to transparency, integrity, and delivering exceptional token experiences to our community. We appreciate your continued support and trust during this time. I really, totally thought they were kidding. This gives there is one, wait a minute, 1 second. This is what I'm looking for. This gives a little bit more detail here. The LDR, this is from Wagme Alexander. The LDR, it turns out that ProxyStudio.eth is our disgraced former teammate Gabagool.eth. I can personally vouch that Dish had absolutely no idea and handled the situation perfectly. The Clanker on base team has the full support of myself and the Aerodrome team. So apparently, what happened was that Gabagool had essentially taken team funds, $350,000 worth of team funds from the Velodrome team at the time, which I think they're connected in the same. And did end up returning it, had posted a lot of things, but it was quite a big controversy. I vaguely remember when this happened. But again, there's been so many things that have happened over the years that it didn't really stick out too much in my mind. But it was very shocking to see that this was the case. And apparently what happened, and again, I am saying what we know at this time. I'm sure we may get additional information down the road. So this is what has been reported by these teams. Is that Wagme Alex had walked into something around FarCon where Proxy was meeting with the Clanker team, or they were at a bar or something like that, and realized that they were the same person, that Proxy was Gabagool. So that's what happened. And then he made Dish and the team aware of all of this information. And then they had to figure out how to move forward and decide what to do. So I think if I heard correctly, Wagme Alex gave them, like, said, I'll give you time to figure this out, but we need to make this public. So, which was obviously the right thing to do. We haven't heard anything from Proxy yet. I don't believe he has said anything on the situation. And then I just want to share one more thing from Dish that he said this morning. Couple more quick things here. This was from Dish. These past few days have been extremely tough on so many levels. The outpour of support has reassured me that the Clanker ecosystem has incredible strength, and I will continue to devote all of my energy into building towards our goal of innovation through collaboration, empowering projects in an equitable manner for all believers and dreamers. Clanker is more than one person and a single team. I'm incredibly confident that we'll bounce back stronger than ever, and our ability to gather attention towards projects will continue. Everyone will have to step up to fill this void, starting with myself, our team internally, and everyone in and around the ecosystem. As a first time founder being thrown into this complex situation, I promise to lead with pride, integrity, and strive to always do the right thing, building in public and taking ecosystem feedback to provide tools to help creators thrive. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Clank on. And then there's also been some statements from Derek and from the Empire team and other people who are Derek of Native, who are building on top of Clanker, and Banker, deployer with Banker, and just kind of saying, hey, everything's good in terms of funds, in terms of all of those things, those are safe, and that this is being handled in a professional manner. Okay.
Jesse casted support. I imagine all the Clanker team, remaining Clanker
Jesse
team is in direct support with base, has things under control, and are, I'm sure, shocked and as surprised as we all are, imagine, working day to day and not expecting anything. So it's
Oh, wait a minute. I think this was the old one. Yeah. Yester Crypto said Zach XBT posted something allegedly from Proxy. That was technically from Gabagool. That was when it all happened, and that was their statement at that time. I don't think there's been anything new yet. So, I've reached out to both. I reached out to Proxy. I reached out to Dish. I reached out to Dish first and just said, hey, just here if you need anything. Like, first my thing was like, is this real? It's what I said to him, because I was like, I don't know if this is real. And then just said, hey, when you're ready to chat, we're here, either privately or publicly or whatever. So we'd be happy. But also, as an attorney, I don't think he should. I think, move slowly. There's no rush. Take your time. Figure out what's what. I think they've handled it very well in terms of saying everything's safe. We're moving forward. Here's what we're doing. And I think right now that's what they should be saying, and then just focusing on whatever they need to do behind the scenes for business wise, because there's a lot there. So wild, just wild. I did appreciate Toadie's comments here. Toadie's been very involved. So I'm just going to read this from Toadie Hawk. As someone very active in the base and Clanker ecosystems, I want to say a few words about today's drama. First of all, as many have said before, this team is extremely cracked. Dish is an amazing dev and an even better person. BTX, I'm going to say Bryce because it's just easier. Bryce, Moon Poppy, Flood, Lobster Mindset, Duddy, Legends All. The fact that they've trauma bonded and pulled together to move forward in this moment when the temptation could be to cut and run is, in my view, very long-term bullish. There will obviously be uncertainty and volatility, as with anything of this nature, but I don't doubt the team will continue to ship and support the ecosystem they've helped build. It goes on to talk about his experiences with Proxy. I do want to just quote this one other part, and then you can go through and read the rest. That said, people are complex and flawed beings. Alex was always extremely kind to me in all of our interactions. Most people who knew him would probably say the same if they're being honest. He wasn't perfect, but he was fiercely loyal to those building in his ecosystem. In rebuilding his new Anon persona, he made a great many friends in the Farcaster ecosystem, helped a lot of builders, and brought real positivity to the space. We do ourselves a disservice if we pretend that wasn't the case. It also bears acknowledging that building a protocol like Clanker, especially as a cloutless Anon, is no small feat. Alex is skilled at yapping, strategy, and ecosystem support were pretty much unmatched. It's a huge part of why Clanker has succeeded, full stop. So that's not to take away from any damage done or to say that any previous actions are, in any way justified, kind of thing. But I do think those are some important nuances that I think a lot of people are struggling with. And I think there's been a lot of comments like this one from Compreni. Like many, I'm shocked by the proxy news. Without a doubt, he has been a catalyst for the FC ecosystem globally. I also believe in second chances. I believe people make mistakes and can change, but hiding your past is not how you earn a second chance. You have to own your mistakes, not run from them. And and also CJ, this is hilarious, by the way. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but nice meme. Really, really good summary. Should you all want to just, catch up? There you go. It's, like I've got mixed feelings on all this. I've got really mixed feelings. But again, I also did. So I reached out to Dish. I reached out to Proxy. I said, hey, if you want to chat privately or publicly, same kind of thing. But I think that, right now is probably, take a moment, take a beat. And the biggest thing I could say to the Clanker team or Proxy is whatever you do not go on a Twitter space unless you are controlling the space. Do not do it. I cannot stress this enough because there's going to be a ton of engagement farmers who are out there who are going to be trying to suck you into a big space, who are just looking to basically trap you. I've watched it happen so many times. I watched it with Jesse. I've watched it with Luca Nets. I've watched it with so many people where there's something that happens and people try to really capture it and engagement farm on it. And just, if you're going to do something like that, make sure you're the ones controlling the space, controlling who gets to speak, who you can kick off the stage. Take the questions, take the hard questions. That's fine, but make sure you do it in a controlled manner that you can, that it doesn't get out of your control, and also so that people are not just trying to make, get attention on your back. Because I've seen that happen so many times in the space, and it's really disgusting. So,
I mean, the beauty of social, right, is
go.
like you can speak to the world directly.
Exactly.
So like if you have something to say, use your feed, use your channel, use your own voice.
Exactly.
I guess like you don't have
if
to, you don't need someone else's.
It's sometimes helpful to have somebody that they're asking you the questions, but make sure that you are the ones who like host the thing, that you
From a
can sort of
mechanical
control.
perspective, like you're like
If you're
talking
doing a
literal
Twitter
mechanics.
space, in particular talking about Twitter spaces, it's a little different when you're talking about podcasts, because you're not, necessarily going to be able to do that. You can still do it yourself. You can still stream yourself, but I seriously think that, I've just seen that happen specifically with Twitter spaces way too many times, where you get all these crazy people on there just trying to get attention, and it goes very badly. So just my 2 cents. Lobster is Lily, I believe. Yes. I think I didn't get a
just
chance
know her by
to meet
Lobster.
her. I know I didn't get a chance to meet her. I think
We
I
met
saw
her in
her,
East
but
Denver.
we did? Okay. I don't remember.
At
Oh,
the
yes,
Matcha
I do.
House.
Yes,
The Matcha House.
yes, at the Matcha House. All right. So other thoughts here, Adrian. I do have some other thoughts, but I want to pause for a minute and let you talk.
I mean, mostly it's like what gets resurfaced are allegations, not allegation, and like discretions, misdiscretions that happened years ago. Like this was, and then so this isn't necessarily new. What's new and shocking is it comes down to kind of the identity and who you're trusting and who you're working with and what you think you know about people in these ecosystems that we're building around with. And you put trust in people. Are people allowed to make mistakes? Yes.
Absolutely.
Like, should people have, but it's just, so
we're not expecting
so
everybody.
much.
You're humans. You're flawed. You're not going to be perfect.
Like we've all left up, right? So, but it feels like it. And again, there's all of us in kind of there's concentric circles of how close you are to Proxy and how much you knew from him in terms of how betrayed you might feel. But even just kind of like from a very, very far distance, I'm not super active in the Clanker ecosystem. I've clanked a few times, as we all know. But but Proxy was on our show. We've like interacted in the feed.
Dish was as well.
So there's a sense of betrayal that everybody
Absolutely.
will feel, right? And so ultimately that's where this will come from. And then it comes down to, okay, what are then is it just you lied to me? Like, is that right? So then, or are there other things, right? Then you complete loss of trust. You're gonna like, what else is there? And
Yeah.
it's tough. I think who is it? Bar Lucid just said something, right? It just makes you think, right? Just we're
Yeah.
in a privacy forward industry.
Yeah.
We believe in like anonymity and privacy as a right. But then in the reality is like, yeah, this is hiring due diligence. Like in the real world, I've never had a job that I did not have a background check for,
Yeah.
that I didn't give my legal name and my
Social security number
social
and your
security number
your
and
your W-9 and all those things. Yeah. So
there's a
yeah.
reason for that. Like you didn't
Yeah.
used to have to,
No.
but
But I
why
get
do
I
companies
get
do that?
full background check working at a state university. Fingerprints,
I
the whole
pulled your
thing.
background. I
Yeah.
pulled your background check. Don't worry.
You should. Yeah, you should. So all those things. But I have two thoughts. So my first thing is, and I've said this to you many times, and I've been meaning, I started writing something about this well over a year ago, and I still haven't finished it. Um, the true currency of Web3 is trust. Like I've said this so many times. If you've watched the show, you've heard me say it. And to me, and I am not a trusting person for many, many reasons over the years. So I always come from a place of I do not trust you from the get. No offense, and that's everybody. That builds over time, but I assume positive intent until proven otherwise. Like it's not I don't trust you and I think you're a bad person at all. It's I don't trust you because I don't know you. And until that builds up, I have different, a circle of trust. I mean, it's really like that. Like I have concentric circles out of trust. And in Web3, you have to trust protocols. You have to trust smart contracts. You have to trust who's behind those things and know a little bit about them. And we all kind of go into this, and anyone who's minted something on the fly without spending a lot of time to do something, you kind of like YOLO it sometimes, where it's like, oh, I think this is okay. And we do this over and over again. And then the outer part of that is the people, right? Because sometimes we might trust that, this particular protocol is good for one reason or another. But behind it all is people, and how much do we trust those people that are behind the scenes? And that trust builds from, what do I know about you online? Have I met you on a Zoom call, or first of all, have I met you in an audio space? A lot of times it's that. Then sometimes it's a Zoom call. Then it's, have I met you in person? So when I think about somebody, like for example, Yes to Crypto, which he just commented as a pseudonym, I typically gravitate to mostly known people to talk to, which is really interesting. And then I cautiously meet new. Um, why has my trust of Yes to Crypto built up over the years? And it's been, first of all, him, starting with a totally a non-wallet, moving to an ENS so that he can be readily identified, building up, like watching his actions online, and then meeting him in person and getting a very good understanding as to why he decides to remain a non for now, even though he has a goal of eventually changing that. That builds that trust. And it builds over time. And there's many similar, I have many stories like that of different people who are anon in terms of pseudonym. They're not anon, they're pseudonym. Like online, they are this persona, and then they do not connect it directly with their IRL persona for one reason or another. Peachy's another one. Wiz from Nouns. Like there's many people like this who I have met in person. So I trust, I have a certain level of trust with them because of that. And that's just how I tend to operate. It's very unusual it's very common in this space. It's very unusual in the rest of the world that you build trust with people online that you may have not met in person. And you don't find that in many other circles. You find it a little bit in art, in the arts, where people have artists' names and artist personas. You find it in writing as well, like with pen names and things like that. But outside of those cases, you don't find that very often. But also, if we think about it from like the American experience, it's not that unusual in those regards to like writing, where we had founding fathers who would take a pen name because they had things they wanted to say and didn't want it their other persona to cloud that. So, or they were trying to be protected from getting killed by the king or whatever. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So there's lots of reasons why people
There's
choose to act, pull in a non-name. Okay, thoughts?
oh boy. Okay.
No, that was a lot.
I've referenced the trust equation before. And I don't know if you've heard about it, but it's CRI divided by S, which is all
Okay.
about like how you build trust, how you can kind of calculate whether an individual is trustworthy. And what goes into it is credibility, reliability, and intimacy,
Hmm.
and whether or not someone is self-oriented. So, credibility, which is like how talented you are. Like, what are the things you are bringing to the table? So, maybe for us, it's how do we
Hmm.
show up at a podcast for
Yeah.
and what type of news we're showing and how we talk, like what
241 times.
yeah, that comes down to reliability. But just
Yeah.
like any one given show,
Yeah.
are we presenting Farcaster news, whatever, like how we do we know what we're doing? For Clanker, like, is there a product that's been built in a protocol and
Right.
does it work and does it do what it says it's going to do? So going back to what you said, like the whole beauty of blockchains is and why we call it trustless is you don't have to trust someone because it's in code. The joke, what you're
Right.
talking about when you talk about needing to know the people behind it is because no one's audit. Like not only you can pass an audit, but until it's proven the test
Right.
of like I'm actually not reading the code every time I execute. Anyway, okay,
Right.
so credibility. Then reliability, which is for how long do you know someone? Like how does someone show up? So these are our 250 episodes. When you're pseudo anon, when you come onto an ecosystem and no one can trace you back to where you are, you're always starting at zero. Like you don't have a lot. You have to like trust takes time to build up.
Yes.
So if you don't have the time, like,
Yeah.
oh my God, like I'll say kind of Proxy's given me, and I'm going to go through like all of the reasons to trust him, except the reliability. I don't know who he is beyond the 2 years I've known him on Farcaster. Like that's
Right.
it. There's intimacy. This is like a weird one, but this is kind of like the
This
little
kind of goes to
softer
what
of
I
like,
was just talking about, like that build up. The intimacy is like, I know you here, I know you there, and then it builds up over time too.
and it's
It
also
feels
the
like,
softer. It's
yeah.
like, why do people not trust Zuck? He's like missing it's like
Oh,
more of a
yeah.
social. It's like it's the personal thing of like,
It's authenticity too. Yeah, and whether or not that comes
um,
through.
and then all by self-orientation, which is in your acts. Are you putting yourself before? Are you putting others before? And if you're so like self-orientation erodes trust. And
That's interesting. Yeah.
and ultimately, right, and this idea of like at the end of the day, transparency builds trust. So like
Yep.
as if you are pseudo anon, you are or anon, you have such a higher hill to climb to earn
Yep.
people's trust.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what's funny is people have been mentioning like Satoshi and things like that. And why did we, and it's almost like that's the better approach of like, start it, remain anon, but also disappear. Like, just freaking disappear. Like, and don't come back. Because it's almost easier that way. But also I think everyone, kind of, there was that movie that came out about who is Satoshi and this theory and all this stuff, and everyone going, yeah, I don't think so. But but nice story. Because it's the prevailing wisdom is that Satoshi's probably passed away, right? Is no longer with us. But there's because of that, I think lore, that's why we keep seeing people try to do that over and over again. And there's been, some good instances of that have been fun and interesting. But most of the time, what I've seen really happen is people start with this pseudo or this anon and then eventually reveal, right? If you're a founder and you're actually creating something real, eventually you're going to need the only way to truly build that trust is to eventually come out and say who you are and own that. Otherwise, it's really hard to move to what you're saying, like that next level of intimacy, that
Right.
next level of full trust.
Mhm.
And there's just no other way around it.
Right. And I think like you have to break apart systems
Mm,
and code from people.
yeah. Yes.
Because trust in people, but like look at the invention of the LLC and the corporation, right? The idea of
Yeah.
like these are companies that exist or that will exist long beyond founders, and they have their own entity. So
Yep.
Satoshi, like Bitcoin is not Satoshi. It's not about
No,
trusting Satoshi. Who cares who Satoshi
we don't
is?
need to know
But
because it's
beyond
in
the
the
lore,
code.
it just doesn't matter. It's
Right.
Bitcoin will last.
The
So I
times
thought it
when
was
it
interesting
matters.
too.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, just
Yeah.
on Clanker, like someone put this in the comments too, is like, oh, I thought Clanker was just Proxy and Dish. Like you didn't even know there was this team because Proxy was so forward about and kind of the face but what is Clanker? So immediate to see
Yeah.
the ecosystem, just immediately saying like Clanker's continuing. Clanker is not Proxy.
Right.
Well, I found, and again, this is kind of me being a little separated from Clanker ecosystem, but like I thought that was interesting
Right.
to see today of like this immediate, like it's like you don't have to like Clanker will continue. It
Yeah.
doesn't.
It doesn't necessarily need a person. And I think, when you think about it from, like you mentioned LLCs, and I was thinking about something like a DUNA, a decentralized unincorporated association. The idea around something like that is so that you can have anons who are part of but have a legal framework for making that all work. And again, it comes down to like some trust there and some certain aspects of that where the code becomes the thing that's trustable. And that's where, something like Bitcoin is. Ethereum's a little different because you have multiple people, but you also have, decentralized nodes that keep it going. And then you have something like with certain chains, that's part of the distrust is that if you have a chain where one wallet or one multi-sig owns 70% of the supply, that's where you lose trust because you can have that hit that can come and sort of suck all the liquidity away. So all these different layers of trust and all these different factors, and you have to just evaluate. So let me shift to one more thing. And this is why I've been thinking about this for a year is I started listening to audiobook Talking with Strangers. And it came out well over a year ago by Malcolm Gladwell. And I casted something about this yesterday. And it goes into why do we trust people who are essentially distrustful. And some people are just good at it. It talks a lot about con artists. It talks a lot about interactions that happen and how we perceive it one way and someone will perceive it another way because we come into the situation with our own stuff, right? Based on our own past experiences. So when I talk about the fact that I don't trust people at the get, and it takes a long time for me to build that. But I assume positive intent until proven otherwise is because I have had experiences in my past where that has been the case where, trust has been broken and things like that. And, I'm old. I'm older than a lot of you. So it's, it's just the wear and tear. But it really goes into different situations and why people are distrusted or why people ignore red flags and why some people are able like you just don't want to believe certain things. And I think we see that in situations like this where like, wow, he's always been very nice to me and very, and I can't believe this, and why we get very shell shocked by kind of these types of situations. And it really kind of dives into some of the psychology behind it. So if you want to dive more into it, it's very interesting. it's really interesting, and it talks a lot about different things like body language and just different telltale signs that you just ignore. And one of the things with Proxy, and I said this to you actually, fairly recently, was I was surprised that he was still he wasn't going to be at FarCon and was still trying to stay on, even though it was in New
Mhm.
York. Everyone was going to be around, and that really surprised me. And not in a like, I was surprised he wouldn't be taking an approach similar to like what Yes to Crypto does when he shows up at an event. He's like, doesn't want to do the pictures and things like that, but he's there and he's a part of and he's involved and he's doing all the things. And Peachy's the same way. And they'll just like, do the head or put the, PFP over pictures and things like that. But they're meeting people and they're being a part of and they're, not missing out on the events. And I was very surprised that Proxy wouldn't be taking that same approach. And now it makes a lot more sense to me. But it was one of those things that kind of I went, huh, that's weird.
Mhm.
But I kind of assumed in my mind that it was like, okay, maybe he's very young and just doesn't and thinks that'll take away from his standing as a founder or something like that. I didn't assume I assumed positive intent. You
Right.
know what I mean? So again, like I was kind of like, oh, I just thought it was this. And I didn't pay too much attention to it. And there was a couple other things that where I went, but it really wasn't anything major. So we are like we tend to do that in general as humans is we do not want to believe the bad thing, especially from people that we've had positive interactions with. We just really don't. So we want to
Yeah.
lean that way, and then it gets difficult to believe when you hear something that's not so great. So yeah.
Yes. Good good cathartic chat that ended
Yeah.
up talking a lot more about identity and trust than
Yeah.
anything to do with Clanker even.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
um,
And oxen,
it's,
yes. There's another one. Oxen, wake. There's many. Yeah, there's many.
um,
Yeah.
I don't trust anons the same way I trust non-anons.
None-a-nons. None-a-nons.
Non-anons ever. I might trust something that
Yeah.
anons build over time, but that's, it's a nice reminder also of like things we can do. This again, having nothing to do with Clanker or Proxy, but just like
Yeah.
what are things you can do to kind of protect yourself, like having multi-sigs, not sharing private keys with
Yeah.
teammates. Um, and if you're like, if you have relationships with anons and you're like, think about what that relationship is and what you're expecting from each other and um, how much trust you're putting in a relationship and what you have on the line.
Yeah. And
Do some.
yeah, and it also brings me back to Song a Day Man, and I really wish I had it queued up. I should have grabbed it. Stop sending money to assholes on the internet or something like that. He did a song one time. It's like stop sending money to people you don't know on the internet. And this is about when everyone was doing pre-sales this is before something like Clanker and before Pumped Up. This was people doing like you would send it to a multi-sig wallet or a wallet, sometimes not even a multi-sig wallet, as a pre-sale, and you get this token and whatever, and then they launch it. And there was so many times where people are just losing money because they kept sending money to, people they didn't know on the internet. And it's a really funny song. And it's a very catchy tune. But it's, we've seen this happen over and over again. And that actually is what Clanker helps to prevent is
Mm.
those sort of like very much creating launch pads that make it much harder to rug projects or to steal funds in pre-sales and things like that. So it's kind of funny that we're here when actually the platform itself is actually better in that regard and sort of prevent some of those issues that we've seen in the past with people launching meme coins and really just stealing funds outright while doing so. Yeah. Okay. Um, this has been a lot. This has been a lot. I feel like we probably need to do some maybe some FC audio spaces too, where more people can chat. about what they've been thinking and feeling. I do appreciate, there has been a lot of positive support for the Clanker team. A lot of openness to hearing Proxy's sort of side of things. But yeah, it really comes down to not disclosing. And basically, I have to imagine it was very difficult and really weighing on him, and not to say that, not to justify any previous actions that were illegal or not okay, or just, bad ethics in general. But I have to imagine that it had to have been weighing very hard on him, in building something that was really cool and amazing and successful, and then sort of living in this fear of like being caught, if you will. Had to be rough. So maybe it's a moment for his own relief, if you will, that he can kind of hopefully move on from this. All right. Anything else, Adrian? I've got a couple other quick things, but anything else on this? That was a lot. It was a lot. So we'll be back Wednesday. We're going to be doing more formal recaps of FarCon. We'll be sharing some content from there very soon as we have it available. I do want to point out really quick from our friends at Octant, Dungeons and Dragons cards are still rolling out. I am going to go sponsor this in just a moment, so you can look for it and mint it for free very shortly. I want to thank Purple, because the Purple sponsorship did pass. The prop did pass for Cast Out. Cast Out is starting next Monday. Lord, I've got a lot of work to do this week. So if you are interested in playing Cast Out, please get yourself in here into this form. It's you'll see it pinned in the Cast Out channel. Go to this form, fill this out, and make sure, if you are a member of Purple, that you check that off, so that we can make sure you are included on that team, or if you're a member of Little Nouns. So make sure you do that. And that is it from me, Adrian. Anything else? It's been a lot. By the way, you like my merch that I picked up at FarCon? This is
I
at Beer Pong.
do.
This is at Beer Pong. So sporting the Clanker hat, the Clanker shirt.
Is that a Clanker hat? I'm like, I don't know if that's a Clanker
It's a Clanker hat. That's a Clanker hat.
Wait, that's how I don't even recognize the Clank. Is that a logo?
I've been rocking the
Clanker logo.
It's the Clanker logo. Yeah.
It's just a graph. Like,
yes,
I didn't know that.
yes, Christina. Everybody wants to play Cast Out. There's a lot of people who said they want to play. Let's hope. So yeah, if you are interested in playing Cast Out, please apply. If we have a lot of demand, I will try to add on some additional tribes, but we're planning to have 8 tribes of 5, and you can pick your own tribe. You can pick 5 people you want to play with. Join a team. There's going to be at least 3 ETH on the line for the winning tribe, plus some DGen. So it's going to be a good game. All right. Any last words, Adrian?
Oh, I had so much fun at FarCon.
I did too.
And I am so tired from FarCon.
I'm so tired.
I'm really excited to talk more about it this week, and can't wait to get like the talks out for people, because they were so good.
I'm dying to get those out. There were so many good. The community talks were great. They were all so interesting. Like, I learned something in each one of them. Like, and sometimes it wasn't what I expected to learn. Like, I was just thinking back to Tayabs and learning about Pakistan, and like, you know what I mean? It was just like, it wasn't what I expected. So like, there's all these little nuggets in there that are just really interesting. And Fred Wilson's was just
so
phenomenal.
Good.
Phenomenal.
And then just getting to see Farcaster people that I've like, especially people we met at FarCon 1, and like that quiet room, and then the kind of like people who are still here in the ecosystem, just kind of like who just keep showing up. It just was so nice. It was really and I didn't want to overextend myself. So I feel like I didn't even sign up for that many side events. I just went to a few, and I'm getting a blog post out today, and I actually listed everything I went to, and I'm like, damn, that was a lot. Okay. But I
was a
still
lot.
feel like
I went to
like
5 different
1%.
ones on Thursday,
That's
and then
great.
I went to like the main summit and 2 other things on Friday, and then Saturday I went to, I don't even know, 4,
Oh, but I
4
just
or
I
5.
feel like I didn't even go to that many, but
I
there's
know,
it
and I
it
feel
was
like I
still a
still missed a
lot.
ton. Yeah, yeah, totally.
Um, so I feel so tired,
So tired.
as you can tell, as you can tell by,
So I'll just
and
say that, like, I don't
but
know when this recording's gonna
satisfied.
get out. This recording's gonna
Yeah.
take a minute, but so luckily you all were here live. 'Cause
Um,
I have some other stuff I need to do.
but
I
I
had
love
to unpack my
Farcaster.
camera. My camera was in my suitcase. I'm like, I haven't even unpacked yet. But we love you. We love you, Farcaster.
Love you, Farcaster.
We love you,
And
Farcaster. And yes, to Crypto said, wait, no Clanker prizes. I didn't say that. We'll see. We've been chatting with the team. Maybe not for cast out, but we've been chatting with the team. And there will be some $ cast out. Absolutely. Bert wants to see the dog we hear. Sorry. That was my little, that's Mookie. My wiener dog is barking away. All right. That is it for
call it.
now. I got to call this. I'm exhausted. It's been really fun. Thank you for joining us on this impromptu GM Farcaster that we were not planning to do at all today, and hanging with us. Yep, it was a wiener alert. There you go. Wiener alert. By the way, if you don't know what a wiener alert, it means there's been a dachshund somewhere. That's all it means. Don't get excited. Yes, On-Chain Creator House was amazing. Humpty, that was incredible. So glad I got there. We've got lots of things to talk about still with FarCon. We will dive into them all. And until then, we will see you. Oh, that's funny. I'm watching on 5-minute delay. What is happening? There was a dog barking. It was my wiener dog barking. But Bert, we missed you, but we have stickers from you. And also, by the way, did you look at your envelope, Adrian? Was yours signed? Did you have a signed Bert?
Yes, I got a nice little note from Bert.
And there was a paw print. There was a paw print.
It was,
It was
and
my
you can't
favorite
see
thing.
it because it's behind here on my laptop, but I have Bert now on my laptop. So
Aw, I love it. So yes, I've got the Bert stickers. I got the note, which is hilarious. And yes, we'll definitely Mookie's very excited to take a look at the stickers. All right.
thank you, Hypersub members, by the way, especially
Yes.
those that showed up to our IRL events. We have 51 other spots for people to join.
41.
Prof, we
41.
have to
Oh no,
get
51. You're right.
the
111.
yeah. Some people are missing out on the group chat, so we got to reopen that too. I don't know if it's.
I got to add the new.
So
I got to add
that.
the new token and add the new people. I have to get that done, and then also we need to update the outro because I'm just about to hit the outro, and you're not.
And you're not
Some of
going
you
to
are
see
not
your name
included
yet.
in it, and I'm sorry. I need to redo
But we're
all of those.
we're gonna get
things.
you all in. So
Yes.
thank you for your patience.
Thank you for your patience, and it was great seeing everybody at karaoke. And great seeing everybody who came to our quick little breakfast meetup that we did before everyone got there. You guys got a nice little sneak peek of everything. Some folks got to see our little Bird's Nest media space, and that was super fun. And we have interviews from there that we'll be sharing, and it was so fun. And that we just have to edit out the parts where Fred Wilson and Dan's dad walked in front of the camera.
No, don't edit it.
Multiple times.
Don't edit it out. It's so good.
It was pretty funny. Well, I don't want them to look bad or whatever. It was funny.
Well,
it was
okay.
really funny. But anyway,
Right, well,
that's more for another time. All right, everyone. We love you. Thank you for being here. And with that, we're gonna call it. We will see you on Wednesday. And until then, everybody, I'm looking for my good cover image here. With that, everybody, bye-bye.